on the wheels, go talking about What's happening? What's happening? Hello. Oh my God, Joe Fleetwood Smith, with your hair in this lightning, you look positively black. Well done on being so melanated. What's happening, girlies of the audience, and one more guy at the back. It's a very female audience, that's going to be fine, because I want to talk about Father's Day, you all got them, ish. You got dads? Yeah, you still see yours? Bragging. What about you two? Yeah, okay, so much to the surprise of no one, me and my arm man, not the best pals. We ain't on Christmas card terms, we ain't on birthday card terms, we're on full name terms. I have to call him the Papa Woods comedy, and he, you know, I would like to tell you about him because he's a strange failure of a man. I grew up in the 90s with my old man, and he was a homophobe. Like, he was a full bigot, but he was a proper homophobe. That was his jam. And as a proper homophobe, you learn a lot from your old man, especially if you idolise him like a son does, and I did. And he thought he looked like Yap Stam, fella at the back, you know, the footballer.
You know him, yeah?
Yeah. Didn't in the slightest look like Yap Stam. What he looked like was Forrest Gump. If Forrest Gump got kicked in the head by a horse. Got kicked in the head by a horse so hard that he started pacing round about instead of running. That's what my half fella looked like. And he tried to do strange things in his life and kept failing, and I find them hilarious. And it's just been Father's Day and I've had a big fatty, that's why I smell like Willie Nelson's pigtails. And I'm going to tell you about my half fella's failures. The first one, he decided to join the Illuminati. Oh! Not the Illuminati, as John. It was either the Freemasons or the Stonemasons, and I'm not sure which of them it was, but I do know it wasn't the Stonecutters, because that was an episode of The Simpsons where Homer tries to join the Illuminati, and they tell him no, and then he chained a big rock to his neck and stripped him naked, and I know that, because when he did that on The Simpsons, I pointed at my dad and went, was that you? And then he pimp slapped out the last of my baby teeth. Thank you. I was a very slappable child, and that did deserve the laugh that you gave it, thanks. But then, not only content with that, he tried to go on the TV show Gladiators. Now, that's you nodding. You young guns in the front, do you know Gladiators? I'm not talking like the current version with Bradley Walsh and his little nepo bastard. I'm talking like 90s uncut Gladiators here. Do you know what I'm talking? Okay, you've seen, you don't know, I don't think. So let me explain, because what we had was Jet and Lightning. Jet and Lightning were like Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter, but porn lesbians. They were great. They were mine and my dad's favourites. I preferred Lightning because she was the blonde one and I was a child with no sense. And me our fella, and this is a verbatim quote, prefers Jet because she was brunette and she had a big nose and that made her self-esteem slightly lower and it meant he had a chance. Strange man, right? Because that was fine for him, but he called me Ma one day, jilling herself to the Wolfman. Called her jilling herself to the Wolfman, and that was it. He flipped and was like, that's it, I'm going to go and apply to be on the TV show Gladiators, I'm going to fight the Wolfman. And I was like, okay, and then he grabbed me by the collar and went, you're coming with me, and I went, what am I going to do? And then there we were in the Vernon Sangster, which was a very sweaty sports centre back in the 90s, and we were sat in the Vernon Sangster trying to do the Gladiators trials. Well, my dad was, I was just sitting watching and providing emotional support, like an emotional support channel. And the first thing he had to do was 10 chin-ups, and that dough ball prick couldn't do it. He got 3 up, and then he was like, I can do 20 press-ups to the fella. The fella's going, I don't want 20 press-ups, mate, I want 20 pull-ups. And he's going, no press-ups. The fella's going, no pull-ups. He's going, no press-ups. And I stopped paying attention to him, because I was busy paying attention to this tiny lady. I'm a small man. And when I see people who are smaller than me, I get excited. You know? And there was a tiny lady called Eunice Butard. She was 4'11". Tiny Scouse lady, and she was boss because when she was doing, she could do 20 pull-ups, no problem, not a single question. And then it came later on in the day to this obstacle course that was very sexist. Have you ever seen a sexist obstacle course? I have. What it was, right, it was the 90s, so the boys' one was blue and the girls' one was pink. And then they had to jump over some foam triangles, but the girls' ones were slightly less of a gradient of the triangles. And then they had to jump over some bars that were slightly lower than the boys' bars, and of course they were pink as well. And instead of doing like a handlebars bicycle thing, they had to just walk across a platform, a wobble beam. It was all very sexist, right? And I say this, to give me that a little bit of slack, because they did the boys' ones at the same time as the girls' ones, and our fella didn't just lose to the guy who was doing like the obstacle course race against. You had to do 2 laps of this obstacle course, and during that, Eunice Butard on the girls' one lapped them. Now, I know I've spoken too long about Gladiators, ready for this to be funny, but the reason I set this all up is because I watched the episode of Gladiators that Eunice Hart was on about 3 months later, right? And she was on an event where they stand on like little podiums with giant cotton board figures, giant ones, and they bash each other. And Jet and Lightning, when they get on there, to celebrate the gals, they wave at each other, all the supporting fans, and then one of them, she chuck a spready to the gods with her left leg, and then right leg, this is clearly the right side, sorry. She chuck one of them, but like better, and then the other one would do with the other leg. You saw how bad it was with the knee leg. I'm not going to try and do it with the other one. And so there's Jet waving at the crowd, and then there's Eunice Hart on the other one, and I was like, oh, Eunice Hart in this episode, sick. And then Jet chucks a patented spready to the gods, and I was like, yeah, Jet, thank you. And then Eunice Hart put in a gum shield, and I immediately started worrying. And Jet's like, oh no, and I was like, oh no, and then Eunice Hart's nostrils started flaring. Like either rhinoceros or Harpo Marx, depending on your comedy, and then Jet got a neck broken.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, indeed, sweet thighs. Now, my favourite of my fellas failings was neither of those. It's this. He once tried and failed to get nominated for Sports Personality of the Year in 1997. Bit of a damn indictment of my own age, but let me goddamn explain. Does anyone in here, I'm hoping for you, know what the sport dragon boating is? Silence. Perfect. Here's what it is. You take a canoe, then you stretch it like it's Bonnie Blue's booty hole, and then you put 19, not 20, because you need to make space for one child, but you put 19 divorcees into a stretched ass out canoe. Safe! You put 20 divorcees, 19 of them, one child, into a canoe, and you have them paddle out of the, don't you dare call it row, paddle. You call it rowing, pimp slap. Remember the baby tooth thing? Didn't like it. So here it was, Pat sat 4 rows behind me half fella in a dragon boat, also they painted the dragon boat on, dragon onto the side of the canoe and put an ornate head and an ornate tail on there, which weighs a fuck ton. By the way, just saying, if you really want to get good at dragon boat and just ditch the weighty bits off the front, do you know what? In the weeds, doesn't matter. He went to be fair to him, he had a world-class amount of divorcee rage, and he, 3 days a week, this is why I look like this by the way, I spent years in a dragon boat just paddling after me half fella, just hoping if I could catch up to him 4 seats in front of me, he'd still love me, he wouldn't leave me. Failed. He went to what was it, Hong Kong and Singapore for the World Championships in 1997. And that, I think, is fucking cool. What wasn't cool is that he came back and bitched out me and my mum for not supporting him in his bid to become Sports Personality of the Year in 1997 on account of Steve Redgrave and Matthew Pinson had won the Olympics in Atlanta the year before and had become Steve Redgrave won Sports Personality of the Year in 1996 off the back of that. And then my mum quite rightly pointed out 2 things. One, when you talk about rowing as a sport, you can point out famous rowers like Steve Redgrave as an example of rowing as a sport. You can't do that with dragon boating because dragon boating isn't a sport. It's just a hobby for divorcees to get together and bitch about their exes. There's no famous dragon boaters out there, so you can't name them. All you could ever do when anyone asked them to name a famous dragon boater was point to a 5-second clip in the opening 30 seconds of a TV show called Hawaii 5-0. But then you'd have to spend another 4 minutes explaining to people what the fuck Hawaii 5-0 was, because it wasn't 1983 anymore. And then he turned on me because like I had any say in the matter. Like I could do anything. I was like, but Dad, Steve Redgrave also won the gold and you won the silver. And not to be a bitch, but nobody likes a loser. And then he was like, well, if you'd have come with me, we'd have beaten the Chinese at their own game and I'd have won the gold. And I went, I'm fucking 10. It turns out I weighed very little for a dragon boater. Most of them have a beer belly because of that divorce that I was mentioning before. I had perfect technique and didn't weigh much and felt like a weird 2-week period, weird sad men walked around the water sports centre talking about me like I was a prodigy. And he genuinely, before Anakin Skywalker made the popular, was like, you were supposed to be the chosen one! About me not supporting him. What a strange prick. But he was homophobic, and as a child of a homophobic man, and this is, I'm so excited to share this with you. You see these webs, it ain't just the webs, it's about the soul within. Because when you've got a homophobic dad, you can't just be openly queer, you have to be queer in very weird, passive-aggressive ways. And mine was to rank the Power Rangers. Stay with the 90s, folks. You remember the Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I ranked them not in order of which ones I liked the most, which ones were the hardest. I ranked them purely on one factor alone, and that was fuckability. Now, before I get into this ranking, I just need to explain who I am and where I come from, because I am a pansexual man, right? Man's a bit strong. Like half man, half gremlin. Like if the little floozy blonde one out of the Gremlins, if she caught back shots off Joe Wicks. Like, the hair and the shoulders are all Joe Wicks, and also I'm a bit of a prick. But the real compliment in there is the Gremlin lady. She's so self-confident in a way that I aspire to, you know. But as a pansexual, by the way, say at the back, no, I'm not going to try. Well, I might try and finger your skillet, but that's because I'm also a chef. And if I fingered your skillet would fucking love it. Pansexual, say, means I don't really care what's in your underpants. I'll either suck, poke, or squidge them, and I've got the skills to do it. To either to send you all cross-eyed and gooey. I'm fine after the show. Now, when you're a pansexual child, you can't say that because you don't know those words exist. You can't express yourself in that way. So you rank Power Rangers based purely on fuckability. And number one on my Power Rangers ranking of fuckability was still Kimberly. Yeah. Still the pink one, because I said I was pansexual, not blind or fucking stupid Joe Birch, just pan. And then number two was Tommy. If I was making this rank now, Tommy would be top. My top. To explain further, Tommy was the green one, or the white one after season 2, and he had this dagger, you guys. He had a dagger, it was so cool, he pulled it out, and it was a dagger that you could blow into like it was a flute, and when you blew into it like it was a flute, 1,000 guitars went off. 1,000 guitars, and then out of the depths of the earth would come a dragon sword, and I just think it would be quite nice to pull down his green or white after season 2 Power Ranger pants, and pull out his dagger and blow into it like it's a flute, and maybe make the sound of 1,000 guitars, and see, just see, because I'm an optimist maybe, if I can't make a dragon sword come out of the air. Anyway, number 3 was Zach. Zach was the Black Ranger. Now, sorry ladies who've just come in, but this was the 90s and they were racist in the 90s and they made the one black character in the TV show be the Black Ranger. That's what it is what it was. But also, say one thing for your old boy Ryan Woods, I've got a type, so third. Then number 4, skipping on briefly, is Jason, because he was the leader, right? He was the leader of the Power Rangers, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of running out of the joie de vivre that I previously had for Tommy when I get into Jason. Because I don't really fancy him that much, but he is the leader, and if he says to me, hey Ryan, that's me. Hey Ryan Woods, that's the full me. Hey, after Ryan Woods comedy, that's me, instead follow it. If you don't spread them cheeks, then Ivan Ooze is going to take over the world, then I'm spreading the goddamn cheeks, because I'm not letting Ivan Ooze take over my goddamn world. And then in 5th place, and we're back to the racism, because it's Trini, and she was the only Asian American in the TV show, and they made her be the Yellow Ranger. And I'm not even that into it, and I'm running out of steam, but I have just hoovered 3 dicks back to back to back, and I need to prove to me alpha that I'm not a shirtlifter, you know? I want to lose limb of my adult teeth too. And then in last place, and with some prejudice, is Billy, because Billy was the Blue Ranger, and Blue is the Ev. How long have I got left? 2 minutes. Fan-fucking-tastic. In that case, I'm going to go through a bunch of short-form stuff and a little bit of impressions, just for my own delight. Here's a racist one. Honky! That's my racist Shrek impression. Also, the reason for the weird pose is just because he likes doing yoga. Oh, delighted me. What do you call a gay candle? Melton John. No one's getting offended by a gay candle joke because all candles are gay. You can tell that one in work. I've got the most progressive trans joke in all of comedy. You ready for that one? No. No one's ready for any trans joke because all the bumholes get plenty, but don't really stay with me. Progressive, swear to God. What's called a trans kid in the snow? Eddie Blizzard. Works both ways, even if they trans members, you can call them Susie Blizzard instead. Progressive. Fine. The MBs as well, what you call one of them when they're being cooler than cool. And they ice cold 3,000. Thank you, that one's shit. Speaking of shit, I got a 3-parter. I was watching Celebrity Pointers earlier today. Bonnie Tyler was on it. You know Bonnie Tyler? She did the song at the end of Shrek. Bonnie Tyler, she's on Celebrity Pointers, so I wanted her to win. So I was holding out for a 0. Yeah, then the meerkat stole this next one because she came up to me and was like, hey Ryan, that's me, you've heard of that before. And do you want to go for the coffee date? And I was like, yes, Bonnie Tyler, would love to, but you've got a man and girl. And she went, let's go for a Starbucks. And I went, no. Like that. She went, what about Costa Coffee? And I was like, you're messing. Because I was holding out for a Nero. That's meerkat got the kiss. It's a deserved. Thank you. Oh my God. I hate that the meerkat stole that joke. That will be the last time I ever do it in public, mostly because of the reaction. But then, to finish this, and indeed I said, can't believe I'm closing with this. She came up, she rang me as I was going into Cafe Nero and was like, I'm so sorry Ryan, that's still me. I'm so sorry Ryan Woods, that's still my full name. I'm so sorry after Ryan Woods comedy, that's still my Insta, please follow it. I'm going to have to cancel this coffee date. I was like, well, you know, I've got girl. And she was like, I'm having Japanese car troubles. I'm like, Japanese car troubles? What do you mean? She went, my Toyota Eclipse wouldn't start. I've been awful. Thank you very much. Bye.
Right, what's everyone? Keep an applause going, please, for Anthony Johnston! Anthony Johnston's the last minute to jump in for this show. So